Boys, we have just got a bunch of MMA news to talk about today, including Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3 at UFC 318 in Louisiana for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight for the BMF belt. We also still have not got UFC 317 announced, which is pretty shocking from the UFC, but as of like 5 minutes ago, we got Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman as a fight night main event June 14th. I'm super excited to talk about this stuff today, and if you guys are too, make sure to subscribe because we are trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the month. Let's get straight into it. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3. A lot of people are crashing out over this fight because we've seen this fight 2 times. They're complaining, but have we seen this fight before? Have we really seen this fight before? Let's go over it. The first fight these guys had was back in 2012. Both of these guys were tadpoles. Both of these guys hadn't achieved pretty much anything in this career. Max Holloway would go on to become a featherweight champion with 4 title defenses. Dustin Poirier would go on to become an interim champion with some of the greatest wins of all time. One of the best to ever not win a championship in Dustin Poirier. In the second fight these guys had, it was up a division for Max Holloway on short notice. Holloway was fat. He did not put on the weight correctly due to it being on short notice. And this was in 2019, which was 5 years ago. Holloway was just a skinny 145 pounder and did not have the big boy muscles. And in terms of this matchup that has just been announced for 2025, this matchup, Holloway has actually put on the pounds and is an actual natural 155er. He has the big boy muscles, he has beat Gaethje, and Gaethje just knocked out Poirier before that fight. Also, you look at Max Holloway's last fight against Ilia Topuria. Max Holloway, I'm not going to say he struggled to make weight against Ilia Topuria, but you could definitely see it was taking a toll on him. His face was all sucked in, and he did look pretty drained. If Max Holloway wins this fight, it's okay. We know this is an older version of Dustin Poirier, so it won't affect Poirier's legacy too much. If Holloway wins, Poirier would actually lose the first 2 fights in a row in his career for the first time, and that is actually something that Dustin Poirier holds sentimental value over. This guy has always talked about, hey dude, listen dude, I've never lost 2 fights in a row, dude. I'm gonna come back better than ever, dude. And obviously this is Dustin Poirier's retirement fight, so you would probably like to see Dustin Poirier come out as a win. But if Poirier wins, takes the BMF belt, he hopefully would retirement, but it would also kill Max Holloway's career. Losing to an old, washed Dustin Poirier, where does that put him? It would put Max Holloway in a very awkward stage in his career, because if he loses, he would only be 33. Not that old, probably just coming out of his prime, but he would also be coming up 2 back-to-back losses in separate divisions. That is not an ideal situation to be in your career, and that's not obviously my favorite part of this match, but like I said before, these guys have their chemistry. I understand why the UFC has made this fight. Also, the other thing I want to talk about today is Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley, dude. That is a fire fight, and I am so excited that the UFC has actually made Kamaru Usman get off the couch. He's holding up the top 5 of the welterweight division, and it is a relief to see Joaquin Buckley, after calling out Kamaru Usman so many times, fight after fight, finally getting this fight. He deserves it. It's going to be a very interesting fight. Both of these guys have had back and forth moments on Twitter, and this is actually a really competitive fight in terms of actually how the fight will play out. You know, Joaquin Buckley, very explosive fighter. He has good wrestling, he has good striking, he has knockout power, and obviously Kamaru Usman, great wrestling, and his striking has definitely shown improvement in the last couple years. You know, Kamaru Usman took Khamzat Chimaev to a decision, went life and death in that fight, and arguably beat him, arguably drew, but we won't talk about that too much today. This fight will definitely be very interesting. I'm actually really excited for this fight, dude. This fight means a lot to me. I love Kamaru Usman, and it means a lot to see this guy back, and I'm a big fan of Joaquin Buckley as well. But let's match make the lightweight division, dude. As I said this before, this one fight being announced makes the rest of the division fall into a puzzle piece. The puzzle is coming together nicely. Just one fight is going to help this division, and we got that one fight. So let's officially match make the lightweight division top 6. The first matchup I do have is going to be Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. You're probably wondering, Dan Hooker, he just beat Gamrot, dude. This guy deserves a shot up the rankings. And I totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. But Dan Hooker, he had his fight with Justin Gaethje, and he missed out on that opportunity. And for me, the rest of the top 5, they're all busy. All of these guys are busy, so they have no one to fight. Dan Hooker has no one to fight. And this is the only matchup that makes sense versus Michael Chandler. Obviously, this would be a very entertaining fight. Both of these guys are brawlers, and I think Michael Chandler deserves one more chance before we send this guy to the GFL, dude. If this guy loses this fight, he's officially cooked, and this is this guy's last high-profile fight if he loses this. So let's make this fight. Dan Hooker can pick up another win against Michael Chandler, and if Dan Hooker wins this, well, then he can easily just get one more win or number one contenders fight and fight for a title after this. If Michael Chandler wins this, then he's back Michael Chandler's back in general. I'm not going to say Michael Chandler's back in the title picture because obviously we're way past that phase. But Michael Chandler with the win, it would definitely help out his UFC career a little bit. The next fight I do have booked, Paddy Pimblett versus Charles Oliveira. Dude, make this fight. Paddy Pimblett called out Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, you're not getting a title shot after beating Michael Chandler, dude. Paddy Pimblett also just beat Michael Chandler, and he's not calling for a title shot, so why should you, Charles Oliveira? I don't like the idea of having Ilya Charles Oliveira for an interim title shot, a vacant title. I think that's very stupid. And Paddy Pimblett versus Charles Oliveira, dude, this is a brilliant co-main event. Having this as a co-main event of like a pretty stacked card would be nice. Both of these guys are submission specialists. There are both jiu-jitsu guys who have shown signs of great striking in the past. You know, Charles Oliveira, he had some good moments in the feet against Michael Chandler. Paddy Pimblett obviously was kind of just piecing up Michael Chandler on the feet and just piecing him up on the ground, if you know what I mean. So this would be a very fun fight. If Paddy Pimblett wins this, then Paddy Pimblett could actually fight for a title, as much as I hate to see it. And if Charles Oliveira wins it, he could be slotted into a title fight soon. The next fight I do have, Justin the Highlight Gaethje versus Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan, that is a real thing. Arman Tsarukyan versus Justin Gaethje. This is a very good fight, dude. Both of these guys are one win away from the title. This is a number one contenders fight fully. All right, Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan is not getting a title shot after pulling out of the UFC 311 main event. We have established that. We have already came around to that idea. Arman Tsarukyan has said a lot about it. He's okay with it. It seems like he's come to terms with it. And Justin Gaethje, this guy's calling for a title shot. It seems like that's what a lot of people do after just getting one win. They're like, oh, I want a title shot. Everyone in the UFC is doing that right now. For no reason. Justin Gaethje, I'm an AZ boy just like you. You're one of my favorite fighters of all time, but you're not getting a title shot after beating Rafael Fiziev coming off a 2-year layoff. Also, Rafael Fiziev versus Bahamundaz just got announced. That's a very exciting fight as well, but we're not going to talk about that today. And Justin Gaethje, if he wins this, then we can give him the last dance type of opportunity that Dustin Poirier got. You know, we'll give Justin Gaethje one final title shot. He's probably not going to win it. And yeah, and if Arman Tsarukyan wins it, this is the one win he needs to get him back into the title scene. Just this one win, he could fight for a title in the next fight. And yeah, this would be a very fun fight. Arman Tsarukyan's wrestling style has decent striking. Justin Gaethje doesn't have much grappling, if I'm being honest, but his striking is elite, and he can knock you out any second he wants. The next fight I have is going to be a fight we already know about, Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 3. How I see this fight, it's a bit of an exhibition fight. You know, Max Holloway, if he wins this, he's not going to get a title shot. And if Dustin Poirier wins this, then he's just going to retire. So this fight doesn't mean anything. If Max Holloway wins this, then he's probably going to have to go through like Paddy Pimblett or Charles Oliveira or something like that. So it's a bit of an exhibition fight, but it's still a fun fight to make. And obviously the main event, the main thing that this division needs is Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, dude. I'm done pretending like Ilia Topuria shouldn't get a title shot. Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan, book it, UFC. No, I just want to see Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. It is not that hard. It's for some reason the fans don't want to see this fight. There are some fans out there who just do not want fun matchups in the UFC. This is literally the best matchup the UFC could possibly make, other than Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. This is a dream matchup. Just after Ilia Topuria knocked out Max Holloway at UFC 308, people were fantasizing about this matchup. It was probably never going to happen, and now it actually is right in front of us. It is just one booking decision away from Dana White, and we have this fight as our main event for UFC 317. I don't need to talk much more about this fight. You guys know how good this fight would be, and we just need to see this fight next. That is all I'm asking for, UFC. And yeah, man, I just wanted to make a quick video about all this news that came out today. Thank you, boys, for watching.